Yo, what up, fam? Something hit the headlines today. Shout outs to my boy Stefano, one of my MIT homies over in Italy, for bringing this to my attention. But something hit the headlines today, and I wanted to bring it to everyone's attention because you need to know and understand that the 51% attack is real. Most people talk about it like it's some mythical creature like Sasquatch or the Yeti living somewhere in the Himalayas. People claim they've seen it or heard of it, but nobody's ever actually seen it, and there's never been any proof. Well, I'm here to tell you 51% attacks are real. So we're going to go ahead and chop it up. Rock with me. Yo, do me a favor, fam, if you don't mind. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and push that notification bell if you don't mind. We trying to do this thing, and the only way we can do it is if we get your support. So, help a brother out. Anyway, let's take a look at this headline. BSV suffers 51% attack. But before we even get into those details, let me just give you a little bit of background on what a 51% attack is. I'm going to read a couple of passages from 99 Bitcoins, which they do a really good job of explaining what it is. Also, I'll refer you to Investopedia. They have a more sort of cerebral or proper definition of what it is. But I think 99 Bitcoins, as their moniker states, they translate into plain English. I think they do a good job of making it plain for the average person to understand. Before I even read what they have to say, it's almost like when you own a business, right? They tell entrepreneurs all the time, be careful when you seek investment, because if your percentage of ownership goes below 51%, you leave the realm of being an entrepreneur and you become an employee, right? That's because a person or group with 51% or more control of anything has the power, right? In the case of a business, 51% shareholders can outvote the minority shareholders, right? In the case of blockchains, when it comes to the decentralized nature of the blockchain and the distributed nature of the nodes, if one person or one group is able to amass enough what we call hashing power to achieve 51% or more, then they have the ability to control the blockchain. And I'll explain, through 99 Bitcoins, what that means. So 51% attack summary. A 51% attack describes a situation where a certain miner or mining pool that owns more than 50% of the network's hashing power acts maliciously to disturb the network's operation, right? So, from a street perspective, this is almost like big bank take little bank, right? So what is a 51% attack? A 51% attack describes a situation where a certain miner or mining pool that owns more than 50% of all the network hashing power acts maliciously to disturb the network's operation. A miner employing a 51% attack will be able to double spend his coins. That's a huge problem that the whole protocol was built to defend against, but can't defend against it if the malicious party has 51% hash power. And two, prevent transactions from being confirmed. One of the things that I think is important here that they point out in this article is that a miner, they go into what you can't do with a 51% attack. So a 51% attacker cannot reverse confirm transactions, cannot create false transactions that never occurred, can't steal funds from a certain address, and can't create new coins. Meaning they can't go into the past, right? So these 51% attacks have to do with the future, not so much the past. So this double spending problem, I'm going to go into that a little bit. If an attacker sends coins to person A while sending the same coins to person B, while the coins sent to A are publicly displayed on the blockchain, the attacker who has massive hashing power secretly mines blocks for the double spend transaction to B without exposing it to the rest of the network. I'm not going to go into the technical piece of this, but basically what this is if I have $1, let's say I have $100 and I bought like some sneakers from you or something, because you had like the hot sneakers that everybody wants. They probably would cost more than $100, but let's just say I give you the $100 as payment for those sneakers. But little, beknownst to you, I've actually got some string attached to that $100 bill. Yeah, so if I got a string attached to the $100 bill, you put the $100 bill in your wallet, I tug the string, I pull the $100 bill out of your wallet, and then I give it to somebody else to buy $100 worth of goods somewhere else. I basically just spent the same $100 twice. Now that's not the best analogy in the world, but basically you get the idea. I had some money and I basically spent it twice. What ends up happening is you thought I gave you $100 to buy those sneakers, but you find out later you don't have the $100 because I basically spent it somewhere else. And the group or party that I spent it with the second time, they're the ones who got the $100. So anyway, that's the double spend problem. And when you have 51% or more of the hashing power on the blockchain, you have the ability to double spend. And the reason why is because people think of Bitcoin mining or blockchain mining as, we're mining for Bitcoins or we're mining for Ether. That's true. But what you're doing to mine those Ether is you are validating transactions on the blockchain. And when you solve that puzzle, which is proof of work, right? When you solve that puzzle, that then allows you the ability to write a block to the blockchain, which then gives you the right to claim that Ether or that Bitcoin. What you're doing is writing transactions to the blockchain in the form of blocks. And so someone with 51% hashing power, they can basically say, all right, forget your blocks, because I have all the power. My blocks are the blocks that are going to get written to the blockchain. And this is getting a little bit into the weeds, but miners, right, or validators who have longer chain of blocks, those longer chains get more respect than shorter chains. But anyway, the longer chains are the ones that get more respect. Those are the ones that tend to get accepted, and those are the ones everybody rocks with. So these smaller chains of blocks get cast to the side, and so you end up having the ability to double spend, because you can spend it in one place and then you can spend it in the second place, and you're secretly writing these blocks where you spent it the second time. And then the blocks that include the transaction that you made the first spend with, those blocks will get cast to the side, and whoever was the recipient, on the recipient end of those transactions, they're ass out at that point. So anyway, another thing that a malicious actor with 51% or more hashing power can do is basically block transactions. They can sit there and write empty blocks. And so people who are trying to get transactions, through, will keep hitting a brick wall because they can't get their transactions written to the blockchain. And that's problematic, because let's just say the currency was taking a nosedive or something like that, and you're trying to offload your position or unwind your position. You're stuck holding the bag, and maybe even they can get out of their position while you're stuck holding the bag, and then you lose all your money. That's just one example of things that can happen. And then, the big risk here is that if this happens effectively, and if it happens, one time might be enough, but if it continues to happen, then nobody's going to trust that currency. And, all the people who have a stake in that currency are very likely to walk away from it and go invest their time and energy somewhere else. And ultimately the currency can become worthless. So that's the big risk. In terms of preventing a 51% attack, I mean, technically speaking, the incentives should be aligned. That if I've got so much money and so much hashing power, right, I've invested in the ability to mine this coin. If I attack this coin, I'm ultimately going to drive down the value, which means I'm going to drive down the value of my investment. So they would have to be able to steal more money than they would lose from having invested in the ability to amass that hashing power in the first place. So, that's basically the incentives are supposed to dissuade people from actually doing this. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that 51% attacks are real. They're particularly real when it comes to these smaller, lesser cryptocurrencies, and protect yourself and beware. And with that, holla.